أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Madam Chair, Commissioners, Lead Council, Assistant Lead Council, viewers and listeners, good morning and welcome to our daily proceedings of this Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils and related matters. Without wasting time, I have the honor to yield the floor to Madam Chair for our next item on our today's agenda. Madam Chair, over to you.
Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. I will now call on Honorable Sila to lead us in Muslim prayers and Honorable Joyner to lead us in Christian prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وآل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty God and Father, the one whom we adore, we bow in silence at your feet today, asking for mercy. Forgive our misdeeds. We commit ourselves into your care. Heal us from every infirmity. Take away shame, disgrace, and embarrassment from our midst. Enable us to be steadfast in our task, and grant us divine grace and mercies as we continue to serve you with sincerity of heart, today and forevermore. Amen.
Good morning, Mr. Witness. Welcome to this Commission of Inquiry to these local government councils and related matters. To start with, what is your religion?
Islam.
In which language do you wish to make your testimony?
Mandinka.
Okay. Do you wish to swear by the Holy Quran or make an affirmation?
Ibe kalila al-Quran labang fodun ibe kalimole londila.
Al-Quran.
Okay.
The Quran.
Madam Chair, the witness wishes to swear by the Holy Quran. You hold the Holy Quran and repeat.
Ibe al-Quran o mutala na mem fo yesa yokan.
Your name, Ebrima. Foon. Okay, I,
Nte
Ebrima Foon,
Ibrahima Foon
Ebrima Foon
do swear that
mben kalila ko
I will speak the truth,
mbe toñale fola
the whole truth,
toña damma
and nothing
andu nte fen kota fola
but the truth.
fo toña damma.
So help me God.
Woto alama ala yendema.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Numbara isisino. Jesedo kalindima.
Madam Chair, the witness has been sworn. I now have the honor to hand over the witness to you. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Foon.
Akoy sama Mr. Foon.
You are
Good
welcome.
morning. Ibe bismillah ndila. Thank you.
Council, we may proceed.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson and Commissioners.
Akoy soma sirantio aning siranti kotangolo menu bijang.
And everyone present.
Ani momondi bijang.
Can you please tell us your name, sir?
Ito fonyembang.
Ebrima Foon.
My name is Ebrima Foon.
And your address?
Ibe siri mintole. Sukuta.
Your occupation, sir?
Ila doku mumuneti. I'm not employed presently.
Did you at any time serve as a councillor of Janjanbureh Area Council?
Fuwato sodontale yedo ko ke Janjanbureh Area Council kake councilor tije. Yes.
Please give us the times or the period that you have served as a councillor.
Wo wato fonyen wato me tata councilor yala je.
About 2018 kana 2023.
From 2018 to 2023.
2018?
Yes.
Which ward did you represent?
Ibe do ko la tundu jumale no wotumo. Janjanbureh.
You gave a statement to
Kuma kan fole nu
the investigators.
Ye même fo kisikisirlali ye kuma kan me ya safe. Yes.
On the 19th of December 2023.
December karotil tan in kononto 2023. Yes.
If I show you the statement, will you be able to recognize it?
Ningo kaito kan safer ngulu be dame ngai tandila iba sutelale. Yes.
Have a look at that document and tell us whether that is the statement that you gave to the investigator.
Akoy kaito nyin jube ke wala ila kuma kan be wala to MND kisikisirlala. Yes.
And it appears as if there are attachments to that statement.
Ako abeko kodul yen kafu kuma kan lu nyili safe male men safeta.
Ngol fanal jele.
Yes, I've seen them.
What documents are there?
Mum kaitileti.
Nga follow menje womu follow up letter on chairman sick leave.
The first one I saw is a follow up to the chairman's sick leave.
And then?
No badala.
How many attachments are?
Request for regularization of my status as acting chairman.
Request for my request as acting chairman. He said the writings are not clear.
Okay, and then the other one?
Though.
General Council resolution for the removal of the chairman.
General Council resolution for the removal of the chairman.
And the last one?
Labango.
Removal of chairman.
The removal of the chairman.
Do you have the originals of these documents?
Ako nyin kaitolu follow kaiti follow lumenu de data follow be bulle bang.
Nene manyel soto.
I have never got these things in my possession, these documents.
So you have never had access to these documents?
Amonta nene manyin kaitolu nene me isotong.
Kaito dolbi jang jikita ko nga wolje this past December 2023.
There are certain documents here, I can remember that I saw them in this past December in 2023.
Where?
Ye Jamintole.
Janjanbureh Area Council.
At the Janjanbureh Area Council.
Very well. Let us have your statement. We apply to tender the statement of the witness.
Sedo la kumakango sai ba tala ka dundi.
Ebrima Foon in.
Ebrima Foon la kumakangolu.
In evidence as an exhibit.
Kake sede kaitote.
The witness statement dated the 19th of December 2023 of Ebrima Foon is hereby admitted in evidence and marked as LGC/EF/JAC/001.
As the commission places.
Ila kumakangolu me kaito nyimendi la tanga munta yoleta sai ya londi le kake sedo ti commission nyal dia mokono amunta sai sede kaiti lo ngolom.
Please tell us what your educational background is.
Saying afonye ila karangol londo adanta mintole ya follow min fa danta dame.
Amite Junior Secondary School, Ndanda Waldo.
Grade
9.
I completed my education at Armitage Junior Secondary School at grade 9.
Which year?
Sanjuma.
1996.
1996.
And after that, did you do any program, any diploma or any degree programs?
Biro botala ye karando kele bang membe ko diploma wala karam façon lu mem londi la fati.
Ani.
No.
While serving as a councilor at Janjanbureh Area Council,
Wato mebe councilor ya la Janjanbureh Area Council.
were you a member of any committees?
Fodum itata committee kono le committee olu menu be lorinji.
Ha.
Yes.
Please tell us about.
Afonyeng committee jumalem.
Okay. During 2018 Ndunda Janjanbureh kaka counciloti.
Since I started working at the Janjanbureh Area Council in 2018,
Ntarta education committee le fanan kono.
I was within the education committee.
Woto fanan ntarta je nyameng.
How I was admitted into that committee,
Bring the committee or local.
when we were forming these committees,
It's like council be education committee atel labanta lola.
the education committee was the last committee to be formed.
Finance, establishment, and development, and others.
Finance, establishment, development, and other committees.
Yo wolle follow lota molbe ngiringirita wolle kang.
Those committees were the first committees which were formed, and a lot of people there were vying to be members of that committee.
Ntol dolbe sirin ko mambe tenkunding for education le labanda ntol mo nani menturaje.
We were sitting behind, abiding by our time. We were four who were left behind.
Ntol nata automatically ntol nata ke education committee la mold because committee or committee mo nani la.
Automatically, we became the education committee members because every committee has 4 members.
So Birimbe education.
So when I was within that education committee
mang effective bake.
That committee, the education committee, was not very effective.
Katu ntolbe council tumo na birin naranang education committee.
When we were within the council, when we became members of this education committee,
mantra activity jamal solka because nte lafta menkela nu wolom kata rawno la regiono kan karambol folo fanam be visit ka long karambun bundal be tembe du jumal to fonna karamudo dinol fon e be karandula kendol soton kanne mele ala ko be regiono kan.
At that time, the education committee was not busy. There were very little activities that we were doing. As for my part, I wanted to go around to the schools, check the schools, and see the conditions existing there, and check out whether the children at the school were being educated properly or so. That was my intention at that time.
Yo bari nka kole akol soto management na karola menka ke budget wala karoti kodo buka soto.
But we always come across problems from the management, which is budgetary problems because we don't have money.
Mboto kono sang do surta ma I remember, but I believe askeno 2019 or 2020 data tender ba retreat la.
There was a year, I can't remember exactly which year, but we went to tender bar for a retreat.
But we are mbota education kono already because council mol nata jube ka foko education mantra effective ring adum program mantra je ntela ma mango anin kamen kata council kolto especially kabula kodi kol noma anin council la tamanyalto council fona nata jube ka foko umbe bete ala kanana finance leto so inatana bondi je en samba finance then bidin dunda finance na activity follow kata tanda baltal.
Well, at that time, as far as the education committee was not active, was not very active, and there were a lot of activities that we should be carried out. So I later left the education committee. Then after leaving the education committee, as far as there were a lot of things which were going on about the finance committee, then I was admitted into the finance committee. And when I was admitted into the finance committee, the first activity I did was to go to tender bar.
Yeah, so before we proceed to hear what you have done at the finance committee, let me ask, for how long have you served as a member of the education committee?
Education committee Londo committee
Nai sanji fulosi amantambe okana manjiga ka sinak.
I think it might be a little bit less than 2 years, but it is around that duration.
So which means it was more than a year. You said there were 4 of you. Who were the others?
Council mbedamentem bita insimokil ne remember no wolom youth rep nyindi alasan.
I can only remember one. I can remember only one member of that committee, the youth representative, Alasan, because I left that committee very early.
What is the surname?
Alasan Kontodu.
Alasan, I believe is Ngame Jallo.
I think the surname is Jallo.
And how were you appointed? Was it formal appointment or?
Yeah, Altad Nyadile. Aketa ikamuluta nyamen doku wala nyamen kali safe later wala fodum aketa nyadi. That never happened.
How were you appointed?
Sai alta nyadi.
Mbe chambers drong komi normal meeting.
We were having a normal meeting at the chambers.
Yo agenda nyemu purga committee law, subcommittee law.
And the agenda was to form these subcommittees.
Yo subcommittee fang ngaje moleke fang.
And forming those committees, I saw people were vying, trying to put themselves in the different committees that they wanted. And there were other people who were appointed at and told to be part of so-and-so committee. Well, I don't know those who were appointed to be appointed part of those committees. I don't know whether it is acquaintance, it is based on acquaintance or whatever. I don't know.
So who was the chairman in 2018?
Jumalom chairman not in 2018 Sankolo.
Ibrahim Jankosane.
Ibrahim Jankosane.
Do you know for how long he's served as a chairman?
Ya long I wati jeleke siranti yala je.
Ibrahim ngamira nae sanji fula nyonke nyokane.
I think we worked with him for 2 years.
Now, in what capacity did you serve at the educational committee?
Saying wo londi committee on yinkono education committee itila makamu munum muneti je.
Chairman.
I was the chairman of that committee.
And what did you understand at the time was your role as the chairman of the education committee?
Itela fahamu munum muneti ka foko wairin telom chairman ti sirantio nyin committee okono ila lodula nyanta ila lodula munum muneti. When I came to the council, I will try to clarify that point.
Janjanbureh area council ninko education.
Janjanbureh area council, when we talk about education,
staff all will datije.
The staff members are not part of it.
So ntebe futala tu moment na
when I was arriving there, the intention I had was the school children of the region, how education was being administered there. At the council, we were never told that the staff who were there should pass by us. And in those years, they didn't show us anything, nothing passed through us. So we were just sitting down, doing nothing.
Activity plan regional visit
the activity I planned also to go to the schools in the region and see what was going there. That never took place.
But I want to understand what your understanding was at the time when you served as a councillor.
Inata ke siranti ila fahamro mu munetinu ko ila lotan kaw mu muneti.
Ndela fahamro mu mentinu wotumo wala nyindi tonko.
My understanding at that time was
ndolle mata karango tamandi nya ko la regional nyi mumela kam.
We were responsible for the administration of education, or for the education being taught in the region. It was our responsibility to follow it up.
In what aspect? Give examples. How are you supposed to carry out these functions?
Saying albodo ko kela nyadi le atella miroto.
Killing.
Follow. First,
miro mbendela wotumo.
What I was intending, what my intention was,
regional directorate
was to have the regional directorate so that I will be able to shake hands with them, to be able to do things with them.
Partnership.
In partnership, yes.
Yeah. Because I
also understood that I also understood that every year they go around to the schools to inspect so that they will know what is going on in the schools. So that was the reason why I wanted to be able to join hands with them so that we will do that job together. And the director who was there during that time was Mendy. I forgot his name, but I can remember the surname is Mendy. Up to 2 to 3 times I used to sit down with him, discuss this matter with him, and he was very excited about it if that was able to be done.
Who was the CEO at the time?
Jumale Mala Kunton Kotinu Mutumo, Chief Executive Officer. Sambali.
Was he a member of the Education Committee?
Fate Fango Fanandabe or Londi Committee or Konole Education Committee. He was never part of that committee.
Were you having meetings?
For Alikabengu Lukele Numbang. I tried my level best to be able to hold meetings, but it never took place.
Where was that?
Well,
I understood one thing at Janjanbureh at that time. It was only the management who were listening to talk, but as for us, they never listened to us.
Why do you say that?
It happened many times, especially during the first year when we came to Janjanbureh. We had many problems with the management about operations.
Who is we? Who are you referring to?
The councillors. Councilor.
He's talking about the councillors.
What kind of problems?
How they were spending the money.
How were they spending the money?
They spend this money on things and we will not be aware of it and they will not even inform us.
Do you have an example of that?
Well, as firstly, we have never seen Janjanbureh Area Council's account.
And how did you expect to see the account?
So that to inform management that they should also inform us or bring these documents for us so that we will see and know what is in those documents.
Did you at any time request for the accounts when you were serving as a councillor in the meetings?
Finance committee chairman. Finance.
That was the reason why I was removed from the education committee and I was admitted into the finance committee. Because I always talk about it.
Right, we will get to the finance committee, but let's just exhaust the education committee first.
Akombe futala na fulu committee o malebari londi committee o education committee ngau fulu la kolu bonyo amakon.
You had said that it appears as if the management does not listen to you.
Yes. Akoye foko management ibukal lamoy.
I don't doubt that.
Well, among hakilu fula soto.
Because we have seen examples of what you are saying occurring in the Janjanbureh Area Council.
Ako katu yo santiong lu ya nyong lu jele men ketanung area men keta area council je Janjanbureh.
But you have served as the chairperson of a committee.
Ako bari na take siranti oti committee okono chairman.
It's a very fundamental, very important committee, the education committee.
Ako ndu okuma ya tabakelo committee o men keta londo committee oti.
But you haven't had a meeting more than once.
Ako bari hanim bengo fango al nenamake.
How do you explain that?
Ako so ibo satano la nyaadi le bem bukake.
Yalo bengo fanang Kenya la bala fenne kal frandi bengo.
Well, meetings are carried for a purpose and there is a reason for us to discuss something which will bring us to the point to have that meeting. When we always wanted to have a meeting, however we want to have this meeting, the people ahead of us who should have opened the way for us to have that meeting, if they don't allow us or if they don't give us the chance, we will not be able to have that meeting.
No, Mr. Foon. Mr. Foon, I would not agree with that. If you have a meeting and what you discuss in the meeting probably is not being implemented or be adhered to, that's a different story altogether. Then what you are saying will probably carry weight, but you don't have the meeting in the first place.
Aliya kuma kango men kacha bengo to aliya futandi nyi molu may mal danko manso na ko Allah kuma kango taala mo siofo ako bari bengo le fango bukake alisiku kacha no damin wala na kate o kuma taala
la fa même femme la folo ebe bengo men na education committee bola maba.
Yes, he's asking whether it is the education committee.
Yes.
Bari ngo fo ne ko mambenke no
Well, I've said that we've never had a
But
meeting.
you are trying to blame the management for you not being active while serving as the chairman of the education committee.
Akoyete lafta maralo bunda tumila kuolula andu wotumo etolon chairman nying education committee nyin londi committee o nyin kono.
And I am not saying that they are not responsible in any way.
Akama ntara fokanko wolfanalu kutelari ngekande akama ofode.
But from the records and from your testimony,
Bari ku safere ngulu menno ayaja anitela sede yaro kono.
if you do not have a meeting,
Nali mambengoke.
that will be primarily your fault.
Obekela atelu fangulu fanala eloleti.
Is that not the case?
Akofonde.
Nte ila kumososola.
Yes, I will not deny you.
Mbesonnala.
I will agree to your point.
Bare mfana lafta ifana dulandi ne fahamunye.
There is a point that I would like you to understand for me.
Nin kacha bita kanyato.
How we are discussing,
Tumadombe futalo dinkiral to la dumbe wol fanal kachala le.
we will reach those points and we will clarify them.
Janjanbureh ntol nga problem mo sotonde.
Janjanbureh, we have a problem there. We had a problem there.
Nga fonna kumo kono nko ntol as councilors lafta menna bukake.
I said,
Management lafta menna do wala kake.
I said before that we as councillors, what we want to do, they don't allow us. It doesn't happen. It is management who carries out whatever they want to do.
Aduna sanji follow nyen kono.
And during our first year,
O kuma kangal mandang council de afuntira la bundal waling. Ntel nim femfe nyanda mbulum na nyobulu pour kantol ninga problem mo soto kam bonda kono. O kuma kangal futata betole.
and that problem, we talked about it not only within the council, but it went out of the council premises. We discussed with people whom we have access to, or people who we should work with them out of the council. Those people were aware of this problem because we told them.
Yes, I understand that. And as I have stated earlier on, I do not doubt that. So if you tell us more about that, we will definitely appreciate it, and then definitely it will help us a lot to understand better how Janjanbureh Area Council was operating.
Area Council
But do you not think that you are supposed to have meetings at the education committee?
Barila miro to fo alimanyam bengulu kela londo la committee o bunda la education committee la karola.
Wala nyanda kala.
Yes, that's what should have happened.
And that did not happen.
That's true.
Are you familiar with the Local Government Act 2002?
Mansa kunda ringolu la loi ila sarto meniye ça fait pour tarambulolu fo ye fahamule bang. Well, I will not say that I understand all, but there are certain things that I am aware of, that I understand.
Were you oriented at any given point in time in 2018 when you served as a councillor, or did you have access to the act and you have read what your mandate would be as a councillor and also as a member of a very important committee?
Akofo aliyodo ko damra to moment 2018 ya ali bondi ko lu kalamale bang yali kalamutandile bang yali fahamundile bang alla lo tan kan lu nyanta kalamuneti walla fodum yebbu ko nyi sotonne buko yabe safaring buko lu menuto foyo fanan sotonne wo wato la pour isalong alla lo tan kan lu nyanta kalamuneti munimmu ali nyanta tamala menna fo wo ketale bang
ado ketale adumbe actionate nimbara lola bake.
Some happened, not all, but we thank Action Aid for that.
Action Aid le follow nata ndol mako ka londi kafukaramo di mola na doko tamandi nyato.
It was Action Aid which first came to talk to us and to teach us and to orient us about our job, what we should do. And throughout the job, Action Aid stood by us during the whole term. If what they wanted to do for us, if they had been able to achieve that with the council, by then, today, Janjanbureh Area Council would have developed more than its present position.
That is very good on the side of Action Aid.
Yes.
But then, I ask specifically because of the fact that you represent the people. And so if you are a member of a particular committee, you must know what your mandate is.
And
so the laws that govern you will tell you what the mandate of the what your mandate is as a member of the committee. That is why I asked earlier whether you know what your mandate is, what your core responsibilities are as a member, or in fact as the chairperson of the education committee.
Atella lotan kan lu nyanta kala muneti alla ta rambulo mu nyanta kala muneti sako ina tatara committee kumma kono memo education committee wala londi committee so alla ta rambulo lu nyanta kala mentinum wala na komanto nun aya ko nyininka
education la karola mba fala ko tumado mbe kacalje kany ma faham moto faham.
Well, I will say that on the side of education we are talking about it, but I don't understand that part.
Mang education ma faham une mun na mandate na responsibility as the chairman or committee nyunkono.
I will say that honestly I don't understand what should have been my mandate being the chairman of that education committee.
Kantu na hakilo betilinde mfana mena.
Because what I was thinking about at that time, what I stated here before was how education was going on in the region. That's all what I was thinking of, and that's all what my intention was to follow up.
So the education committee has been clearly mentioned by the Act. Local Government Act.
Adu mansakudarino lanyi sartolu ye kolu fole tarambulolu nyantolu men ya lonko londi committee ni nyanta lola wolleka.
And your responsibilities have clearly been spelled out.
Andu nyanta do kolu menu kala ila tarambulolu be wo loi buko ni yo be fole ka seneyande.
Section 64 of the Act says
bunda taworo ni nani njango wo sartolu kono ay nyine fo
that there shall be a local government education committee.
Ko committee o nyanta soton na le masakundari mul la karola menu be marla londo kunyalu la nin karango
for each area council.
Area council bunda wo bunda nyanta o soton na le.
And they shall perform the following functions.
Andu nyanta bula la kolu menu no makeke.
And it refers you to section 63 of the Act.
Andu obe bunda taworo ni sabanjango le nyin kono memu sartolu nyiliti.
Number one is to ensure that schools are established and operated in accordance with the Education Act.
Follow wala nyinti nyanta karam bungulu lo lale ye tamandi sartolu kang me yalonko wolle nin kolu tatanyola memu londo la sartolu tikasa feta nyami.
So let me ask, how many schools do you have under your jurisdiction at the time?
Akombat ngeni ka karam bunjelle batella bunda kotono ngotumo.
Janjanbureh administrative area for Janjanbureh farm.
Is it only Janjanbureh town, or is it the whole administrative area?
In administrative area, because that will be your jurisdiction. Is that not the case?
Akutundo nyimume obe katolbe ba telela do kokono. That I cannot say.
How many schools do you know?
Ite karambunjelle long.
Because
that will be a little bit many. There are three at Janjanbureh, Sankule Kunda, Animindo, and Brikama Ba. They all have schools. Jareng.
So if you do not have meetings as the chairperson, you will not even see the need probably to even discuss whether there is a need to establish schools or not.
Woto altenyin sarto altenyin dalilo jela ko fo ali woto alinyanta katalele purka karambundolu lo men yalon ko nyanta tarla tundo kan.
Do you understand that?
Yo fam. Yes.
The second responsibility would be
Allah lo tan kam fulanja nyanta kelamenti
to ensure that the establishment and management of council schools are properly monitored and supervised.
Alinyanta jelala ko karambulu menu lota menu la ko be council bulu yo karambulu la ko no masata ila ko lu tamandinya e tiling ay saha andu ya maro nyanta tar la bularinga noma.
Do you have council schools owned by council?
Fo ali karambulu soto le
built by council?
Men yalon ko area council le martawol
na soton dan demalo.
If they are available, I am not aware of
But
it.
Mr. Foon, this is the problem. How do you represent the people then?
Ako Mr. Foon ñinam kolea kote sa ibe do ko kala mole ñaadile.
Karambu me ndela tamo kono de council man karambullo.
During my term, council didn't build any school.
Even before you represent the people, as at the time you are representing the people, you must have this information. You must know. Then on what basis are you representing the people?
Ako ni hani janni be o datila ñanta lon na le fo ka foko wayri ite be lori molle ibe do ko ke kam molle wol be mu ko leti ñanta menu bolo ñoto ye fahamu yalo ñanta men kala ye ke ko long
Council yalla wo be sone ano lan tebul dam na xamé ko ni na tara o keta ñanu.
Well, that will be easier for me if what I wanted was I was allowed to do what I wanted. I will be able to see all the schools. I will know all the situation of all the schools. I will know how all the schools were operating.
No, Mr. Food, I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree because I am not saying that the management was really helping you. In relation to you realizing your roles, understanding your role, and then performing your functions. But you haven't been made the effort in the first place. If you had meetings, you document these meetings, and then you present it to management or the council or whatsoever, and they didn't do anything about it. That's a different story altogether.
Wobemulu menka kije menka foje alikabe ke kaito bala alikana o kaito chika aliadi maralo bundala wala management ni wolu man ko kundi ntamandi je woto tumwa be koyla lewko ateli alinyanta menkela aliyo kala mun ko be management de.
That is the only point I disagree with you.
Akoje dron ole mu bundati anisi so. Well, I understand you, and I'm not. What was my problem?
Ko Janjanbureh Area Council Committee meeting nombang. Council meeting nombang.
At Janjanbureh Area Council, whether it was a committee meeting or council meeting,
activity menkela.
Any activity that you want to carry out. You can inform them about your intention, but it is left with management whether that meeting will be allowed or not, or whatever the activity will be allowed or not.
That is true, or that may be true, but only if you inform them. Only if you inform them. You were the chairperson or the chairman of the education committee.
Ako tonya bari natara ku keta aliyem bengolu ke aliye kumalufo alnata o kibaro futandima kairi telam chairman telam sirantioti wo education committee kono alikachi ata femfen na likambenta ala committee o nyinda karola aliyo futandi management man bitum sila tutaw lebulu nyanta menkela
yalonte menke kabirim man committee meeting sotono.
What I did, since we were unable to have a committee meeting, I voiced my intention during a council meeting to let them know what I wanted to do.
Yes. Mr. Foon, I just want to find out whether when you were appointed as chairman of the education committee, you were given a letter.
Kai ke siranti oti o londi committee o kono education committee fo e later o dila leba. No.
So you were not aware of what the act is saying and those people that are supposed to be members of that committee.
Andu woto wala mnyinti ko luaye memfo atella du ko la karola imalong wala imambo kalama ani ini menu nyante tarlaji.
Ani molo.
No, I don't know.
Nengala tema molo.
Between me and Allah, I don't know.
So
or between me and God.
Who appointed you as the chair of the education
committee? Education committee.
Okay. Okay,
how that happened?
Other committees nyol tombo nya will be tomondale.
All the other committees were selected. I was sitting down.
Sorry, was it at a general council meeting?
Yes. General council meeting. Yes, it was at a general council meeting.
So council will be from fixed dole point, dole from point, you know, ye tai dundo committee kono, dole be siri. Nga long fam faham ko, ntenga nyene sute ko maybe na londo manjam fan ni mel bi jang mol sitara jam mel londo jam farante. So ngam fan to ko man be siri.
Well, when they were selecting these committees, some members put themselves in certain committees Others were appointed and told to be members of certain committees. But I was sitting, I decided to reserve myself until when those committees were all selected. We were only 4 people left who were not members of any committee.
And education committee and at
that time, the only committee which was not formed was the education committee.
So automatically, automatic member.
So automatically, the 4 of us who were left behind became members of the education committee. This is how it happened.
So, were there any minutes of that meeting generated after the meeting?
Wo bemba men keta wonya tombondirol keta dem fo yalo ka fo me minutes wala nimbenglu be keka ka men safe fo keta le bawo safe ro keta le bang.
Madam Chair, ye problem modo fana natna mem mu Janjanbureh area council la problem.
Well, madam, you've brought another problem which was a problem at Janjanbureh area council.
Nga among ke fam 40 but nale council be kumanda they will tell you this.
It's not part of trying to express myself, but I have tried my level best to be able to institute that at the council. Yakata.
Folla bang kelo mu labanda murlanka killing Janjanbureh area council kono mo be labanda ndamanetula lori.
They were all against me for voicing.
Now, Mr. I ask you a specific question.
Okay.
Answer, then you explain to me what went, whether it was done or it was not done. Because what you are saying, if a report is generated or there is a report of the meeting of that general council, we will be able to see some of these things that you are telling us. So, was there any minutes of this meeting that was held where these committees were selected?
Akaka memfo wala mnyintiko nimbengolu keta o safero lumen kake minutes ning wo kola lam nimmolu nata kolu wo kaytolu karang ikalo wutu mole ko nyinni ne fota jang nyinni ne fota yakobe lankenama akobari akamenyini ka wolem wo general council bengo men aliyake wo nya fo ye minitolu safejele katu ningatra minitolu safeta wo bengoto tumandolu telsi o kayto soto nole isa jube isa lom munimune fotaje munimune kataje jumani jumale munimum fo
minitol safetale
minutes were written but I never saw those minutes.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Foon.
Yes.
Good morning.
Mr. Foon.
How long have you served as chairman of the education committee?
Ite wucheo menke chairman ya la education committee onyenkono wati jellem. I cannot remember exactly but I think it was not more than 2 years.
What's your qualification?
Ete la karango londo adanta mintole.
Middle school.
I stopped at a middle school.
Don't you think that was one of the reasons why you could not succeed in manning the education committee?
For Ebrima mira ufango be dalilo lukonole mune ya kendi imang nying education committee wala londi committee wala dukulu tamandino anyam. Yes, that's true.
Have you ever supported any school in your area?
For dungal nene makoiro di karambunne le bang meni alonko wolle balla tundoka.
Council.
Yes.
The council
chairman education committee.
No, it never happened.
Despite the fact that you have a school like Janjanbureh, Amitage, that needs all the support and help.
And karambungu bije menu beko Janjanbureh sate ofong Amitage school, Amitage karambungu bije meni alonko be sulari makoiro.
Okay. Regarding karambungu la makoiro.
With the regards to the help that we should have given to the schools. That was a problem for Janjanbureh area council.
But at one time, the meeting the retreat program then PSBJ Bubasanyang.
At one time we had a retreat and Permanent Secretary Bubasanyang was attending that meeting. I don't keep quiet. What I say, I'll voice it out at any meeting.
PS engaged.
We engaged the Permanent Secretary about the help that should be given to the schools.
Come from the schools.
And donations which come to us for schools. But what he told us was,
education ya fansum budget o sotonde.
Education has its own budget.
So ntol fanal manya na budget ol exhaust la nke batandi pour nga karamol hajol jara and wol fanal be ministry line on koto.
We shouldn't exhaust our own budget to help schools because they have their own budgets from the ministry line. So we shouldn't try to exhaust our own budgets on that line.
As a councilor,
but me as a councilor, I gave help to schools. Not once. And those were important aids to schools. I did that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, so let's proceed with what your mandate is in accordance with the act. Now, you have also the responsibility to monitor and establish monitor the establishment of operations of all categories of schools, other educational and training facilities.
Kay lamoy ila anin ka along kolu betama ka nyamin men keta karambul ni londi bunda ko tangoluti men ya lonko wolle balla maralo koto
to ensure compliance with national policy guidelines.
Pour nyin kamala asikoyal mako nyilu betama ka nyamin isonta sartolu lale man sakunda e sartolu menu londi.
So you have a very wide and meaningful mandate.
Ako amunta woto ela maralo do ko tamandi bunda kono fanuta bakele bari akumayata wala nyama fana.
Were you aware of any of the national policy guidelines in relation to education?
Ako foman sakunda yo sartol ni otarambulo menu londi wonya londo nyinna karola londo tamando la karola foy bota yewlu kalam ye lonne ba ye faamu. No.
The fourth one
nani njango
is to encourage the establishment of income generating and skills enhancing projects.
Walam nyindi kanyin hammo dundi ka ferolu tamandi pour ka do ko lu londi men ya lonko wolu bekela mecho londi do ko leti ka molu londi mecho la men financi ke soto bulo fana yirwandi rangoti me meche façon lu fo
or programs in all schools.
Wala a programme nyanta menu kala karambulu beto.
Do you understand that?
Fo yo ya fahamu.
Asenganya, please.
I want you to repeat that point.
That you have to encourage the establishment of income generating and skills enhancing projects.
Albedo ko le datila ke tamandi menu be sotobulo yirwandi la anim fana men ya lonko ibe meche londo fana yirwandi la pour men ya lonko be jeesi o meche londo lu karanyam,
which means you will be helping schools
wala nyinti ko talbe karambulu mako ilale
to generate income
pour be sotobulo yirwandi le fangli nyamin.
Or you come up with ideas
wala alnim miraro li futema
or programs
wala programolu
to develop
pour ibe menu kala ke yirwandi
and strengthen
anin ke sembentu ya
skills
men keta mecholu kenyati
in relation to the schools you monitor and yes.
Men tilinta karambungulu la men ya lon ko lebati la maralo ko.
But did you know this at the time?
Ako fodum wato la yolu tamandile ban.
Eman tamandi no.
We were unable to do anything of that sort.
Council.
Yes. Proceed, please.
Council, council meeting all konole.
We discussed all what you have said at council meetings.
Council meeting all because when I'm education to moment.
We talked about all this at council meetings because
that is the council meeting. That's the council meeting. You're only here because you have served in these committees. So these issues must be discussed if you have had meetings at the level of the education committee.
That is
the importance of having these committees.
What I thought was that the power should emanate from the council, and whenever they agree to do something, then they come to us as the education committee And then we will follow up.
Then there's a clear misunderstanding regarding what your role is.
Okay.
Because the council already appointed you as the chairman of the education committee. And as chairman of the education committee, you must stay the affairs of the education committee. How council will now act or react or try to perform its general functions in relation to what your recommendations would be?
Ako council bina kolu tamandila nyami be menkela ani nyanta kolu menu sababula wo membe dending wo londi committee ola chodir bundal.
That may be beyond you.
Asike wo yetambi itela lodu lala.
But first you must be active.
Bari follow anyanta alfanal nyanta kala bundal timenu si kukata.
And as the evidence is, you were not active.
Andun ko CDRO yaitandi nyamin almantara kolu tamandika.
Ning minitol be funtila de me yalonko committee setta damen.
If you were able to lay hands on those meetings, on those minutes when they were setting up these committees,
the minitol mem fana nata lawo kan e bayela nga katol menke pour kaje ka foko education committee sino fa ko meeting soto.
The follow-up meetings that were held, if we are able to get minutes of those follow-up meetings after the general meeting, you will be able to see what was said and what we tried to institute.
Mr. Foon, don't give excuses.
Okay.
You did not perform, you did not perform.
Thank you.
It's as simple as that. You may have performed in other committees. We will get there and we will see what you have done. And if you have done your job, we will tell you.
Okay.
Maybe it was your first time being a councillor. But the bottom line remains the same. That as a chairman of the education committee, you failed to do your job. Is that not the case?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
He has agreed with that.
Now, any questions for the witness before I move?
Mr.
Foon, I asked about minutes, and you said that there may be minutes of that meeting. In your statement, you said as the head of the finance committee that you had a meeting where you were trying to, you made some efforts actually, trying to do a head count of the staffs of the council. This that you tried to do, was it at a meeting that you held with your other 3 council members? Education committee.
Finance for education.
He's asking whether it's the finance committee or the education committee.
It's the finance committee.
Ako finance committee wala na full committee onyi. Yes, we had meetings, and before that meeting, in fact, we first had a council meeting.
Were you the chair of the finance committee?
Ako fweketa siranti otile wa na full committee okono.
Council meeting.
The finance committee. You were the chair of that meeting.
Yes.
And you lamented about the issue of the report that you were trying to.
Yes.
Now, is it not a fact that because the council did not have capacity, you could not generate the required reports that are necessary.
Ako fanyin te keno la ko council nying ila sembo nasitale fole ya sababu bang ibuka nying kibaro lu council no nyi report lu menu nyanta dadala fo council la nasida wala yo sababu bang
mamira la diamo bandada ay bandi.
Yes, what I'm saying is that is it not because there is lack of capacity?
Ako wala nyinti alado ko nasida bijel
from both the staffs at the management level and the councillors to
be
able to work as per what is provided for in the act.
Menu be na fulu bunda la ni menu be council bunda nyina fo ila do ko la nasida wala ya sabu aliman ko lu tembendi no ke kumben ka nyanta kala nyami.
Nte so la ita mo lualo nalti.
Yes, I will not. Yes, what we are saying is the naked truth. I will not deny that.
Yes, because you have indicated a very important point.
Yes.
On the issue of the payroll.
Yes.
Because you have said you as the head of finance, you realized that there were a lot of ghost workers.
Yes.
And that task was given to an intern. And that is why I talked about the issue of capacity. Because it seems to us that you did not have the capacity to do the work, and the person that you gave the work to also did not do the job, and he left. And he ended up giving you an excuse. And you couldn't get the records. So you had to let that work hang. So you couldn't use the work to implement the changes that you needed to change. That is to say, to stop the wastage of funds by paying ghost workers.
Yenyu wasi nunko mo jama bije ikafole ghost workers many alonko ibgana do kola bari tobe suffering andun ikejo so fo fana mudalilut me yalla kolu nasindi andu yako wasile bari hanim bi wo nyawnyanding akwo kese mambo jabatu so fo ko anin yemen foteng nasida membe councilor la karola anin na fulubunda la karola yalo yobe wasile yo kumam bono je fodum wala nata ke koti mententen tabang
mbela fraka diamo wo fanani na demanding.
I would like to talk. I would like to discuss something about that point that you've just raised.
Head counting ninja.
That head counting. That was not the first time, in fact.
Head counting mentioned almost passes the time.
The head count that mentioned was passes time.
But the first one
But the first one which was held, that was during somebody's time. This second one we are talking about, I would like to clarify something there before we talk about the other one. When we started this activity, we went to the field. Sylvester, who was at the admin, we just asked Sylvester to do typing for us.
As finance committee and establishment joint committee.
It was a joint committee, establishment and finance committee. And it was not only for the head counting. This is why I asked establishment to join us. Let's include staff matters in what we were doing. Let's go and see where they work and know the situation where they were working. And places where council used to get money, we have to go and check those places. How they were and how they were operating. So that we will know at every market and at every lumo the amount of money that is generated, so that we will be able to know that amount every week or every day, so that we will know the amount of money that is collected. It was tough, really, but thanks to God, we were able to do it. When we came back, when we came from the field and the report was composed, because usually I used to stand to ask questions when we were doing the job.
So Musa Sawane, establishment na chairman.
Musa Sawane, the chairman at the establishment unit.
And Chendu Boy, ofana finance.
And Chendu Boy, who was also part of the finance unit. These are the two people who were writing for us. But when we came back,
based on the first experience, Sambali nyola time la.
Based on my first experience during Sambali's time,
because we report Musa Sawane nyoli adi fenkel Sambali la adi ala secretary ala banda fila Sambali na ala secretary tema.
Well, that report was given to Sambali, and Sambali gave it to his secretary, and later on we learned that the report itself was lost.
So this one ngambango atadina management mobile so interning.
So this time I said it will not be given to any member of the management. So the intern, I remember I personally went to the intern and told him that don't give this report to anybody. When you are ready with it, hand it over back to me.
So, nata understand ko ate nata emergency phone call
because I traveled and I later came to understand that. When I came and asked for Sylvester, they told me Sylvester has gone. Then I said, how can Sylvester just live like that? He is having our report and it has not been completed. I called him on the telephone. When I called him, he told me that his term was finished and he had some emergencies whereby he has to leave as soon as possible. He said he has written the report, he has typed everything, it is in the system, in the computer.
So, nata management of an noma, purka access to computer naka afenke inadaita nako computer nyin crashed.
I went to management so that I can be able to lay hands on that computer so that I will be able to retrieve that report. So what management told me was that that computer has crashed.
For the second time,
and for the second time, all what I did became zero. Myself and the committee.
It was painful, but then
it was painful, but we had no choice. There is nothing that we can do about it.
Councilor.
Yes, concerning the issue of Mr. Sylvester. What is his full name?
Mr. Sylvester Atona Kontonga.
At a very short time like so Sylvester nka command wala first name molo. First name tomorrow.
He was there for a very short time and everybody was saying Sylvester. So whether that was the first name or the second name, I don't know.
What was he interning as?
So at what was?
Okay, university kabona world.
Well, these are people who come from the university and come to the council. I wouldn't know whether it will be right to say whether they are brought there for attachment.
But it can take a very little time, like then they go back. Maybe 6 months will see.
So they come there and spend a very little time and leave. Maybe sometimes 6 months. And then it was only that batch. That was the only batch which came there, and no other batch came after them.
Was he attached to the finance committee at the time?
Finance committee.
No.
No. I was never aware of him being a member of the finance committee.
How many of you were in the finance committee?
Finance committee. We were 4.
Do you have the names?
Yes.
Please give us the names.
Ebrima Foon.
Myself, Ebrima Foon.
Were you the chairman?
Yes.
Chairman, yes, I was the chairman.
Please proceed.
Chendu Boy.
Nuha Jawara.
Lamin Kamara.
And Lamin Kamara.
Is that all you can remember?
Finance committee.
Yes.
Finance committee.
That's all?
Yeah.
They were that's
So still discussing the issue regarding the payroll.
Ako joro Kenya e kam menu jo menu tobe safering jori kay tobala.
This report,
Ako kibaro.
who prepared it?
Jumale ya dada.
Report on you.
The report.
Yes.
Me ya dada.
Ndol fangolem.
It was ourselves.
How many times did you conduct or write a report regarding the payroll?
Ite signajellem alka wo bengulu ke puruka reportol dada men tilinta mo nangamola menu kajo.
Is it once or twice?
Twice.
That assessment happened twice.
So the first one, you were explaining the issue of Mr. Sylvester was no longer with the council.
The second one.
That was the second one.
So how about the first one?
The first one time.
That the first one took place during Sambali's time.
Which year was this? 2019?
For 2019 lomba.
Because you became the chairperson in 2019.
Okay.
Just confirm. Just tell us whether it's 2019 or.
When it comes to date, when
it comes to dates, I have problems with that. Please forgive me.
Actually, while I was a councilor,
I was very busy at the council, and I was also busy like that at my ward. So this is why.
But I understand that. But then, if we were to, 2018, it was when you joined the council.
Yes.
As a councilor.
Yes.
2018.
Then you served less than 2 years. More than 1 year, less than 2 years.
Yes.
So in 2019 would have really met you to be either at the tail end of your period as serving in the education committee or working for the finance committee.
2019 batarla ebe education committee wa yo wato menki ya bandulato wala wayatara ya follow nyamen kutake finance.
So this assessment, please tell us about the first assessment.
Ako assessment ali yirka follow menke wo foye bang.
Na assessment following.
Our first assessment
often the same. Tata nga be follow nyim fulo kono jande.
Yes, I said.
Wultale finance and establishment committee.
We got up the finance and the establishment committee.
Wultan tata filo kono pour kata ka payroll nyin ka along nga payroll request from the finance department.
We requested the payroll from the finance department. They gave us the document paper.
Right?
Yes.
So payroll
when they gave us that payroll,
we used that payroll pour naita filo kono.
We took that payroll and went with it to the field.
When
we went to the field, I told management that
memo samba staff sol beya dulal beto ko finance ning establishment be wulikang kata head count in adon staff sol be nyanta mo mon njelale nyara.
Before we left, I told management to write a memo to all staff and tell them that the finance committee is coming with the establishment committee and we want to carry out a head count. We want to see each and every single member of staff so that we will meet them at their different posts. And I told them also, any member of staff, come with your documents so that we will know who you are and what your position is.
So, we went
to the field. We did all our assessments.
Maybe number remember but no first assessment.
I cannot remember the number exactly, but the first assessment,
council staff
we counted all members of the council staff.
It was close to 100, but not up to 100.
It was close to 100, but not exactly 100. It was less than 100. It was less than 100.
And the payroll, how many people will you have?
And on the payroll, it was about 150 or so, or more than that.
So you have probably 50 or more, or a little bit less, employees. Whom you cannot really.
The people that we were unable to see those people with our eyes. How that happened, when we were starting this assessment,
because
I complained. Even the first day when I saw this payroll, I told them that I don't believe that Janjanbureh Area Council has over 150 employees. Some said it is a possibility, but I said no. And because of this, we have to do an assessment. So I decided to follow it up. One day I called the establishment chairman, Musa Sawane, because I wanted this joint committee, our committee and his committee, to go together. I showed him the payroll. I told him, look at this payroll.
Musa bo payroll jube kan dorong atata fam badi mu jeje ala name sake le fam mota atoma anobe to kilo fanan to Musa Sawanel.
When Musa was checking this payroll, he came across a name, the same name as him, Musa Sawane, who was also a relative to him. He said, no, but this name Musa Sawane is not the Musa Sawane that I know.
He was one council but council.
Then he said, well, Musa Sawane I saw here, one time worked with the council, but now he is no longer working with the council, but his name is still here. I asked him whether it was a long time. He said, yes, this was a long time. And nowadays, he doesn't come here to receive his salary. Then I told him, now what I was telling you, you should believe what I was saying. We have to carry out this activity, which is the head count.
And that Musa Sawane was still being paid salary?
That's what the payroll showed. If they were not paying him, his name wouldn't be in the payroll.
Because bring out a payroll bala. I don't need to kula men da bota council kono idaman taraje koteki. What I told manyana reflect la payroll bala.
This is what I believed personally, because if your name is on the payroll, then you must be receiving salaries. But those who were terminated, their names are all taken out of the payroll.
That's true, but then this also goes to so many people as well who have been paid salary, and then they do not really, you can't trace them anywhere in the system.
Akonye manda wodam manna dolu fanal bijele meni yalon ko tobe payroll bala andu dolu kana yule joluta bari almeje no alia albe ko yiri karola tumo menal mo mario luje.
Or let me say they are in the system, but then you cannot, they do not really work for, they don't even exist. And going by your statement, they are, so most of them are ghost employees.
This is what we believed. So that was it. That was what I believed, because we cannot trace these people, we cannot see them. This is why I believe that these people are ghost workers. And because of that reason, I decided that all staff should now join a bank so that their salaries will be paid to the bank.
Did you write a report to that effect?
He's asking whether the bank or about the...
In relation to your first exercise, your first assessment.
Yes, we wrote a report.
Where is the report?
Somebody end up saying,
Musa Sawane and Chendu boy gave this thing to somebody. And when I was giving it to them, I told them, don't give this paper to somebody. But when they came back to me and told me that we gave it to somebody, I told them, but I told you not to give this paper to somebody.
But then where's your copy? You don't have a copy? I
said Musa Sawane and Musa Sawane and Chenduli, they do the writing, but I really ask questions and talk to these workers.
So we administration no makane
We were following
Chendu fana nyininga because Chendu safero batele bulat le safero ke num ani Musa.
Because
Musa ko nyoka report indi Chendu la. Nganyel mo flow no ma nyawnya ni nyawo Chendu fana ngate malong ate manna ate law report ate malong ay okay damen.
Musa Sawane and Chenduli, I followed them to be able to lay hands on this report. But what they told me was that they cannot be able to trace the report so that they can hand it.
Do you not think it was much more prudent to have a copy as the chairman of the committee?
Ako fo to moy manyi mira why ritelom committee on nasiran tioti ite nyante fansum copy osoton
na type ta fuka pare nyanta fansum copy so.
Yes, if the typing was done and completed, I would have been able to lay hands on my own copy.
And then you are even supposed to have a file. The committee must have its own file wherein you also have all your copies in that file.
Ako nyanta file of finance sotonale alikala kaiti kummalu ke file o memkon. That's true, but the thing is, no copy comes back to us. So
Mr. Foon.
Yes, sir.
You are the one because you are the one who is supposed to serve a copy to whoever you want the report to reach.
That's true.
So what you give, you must have a copy of it. Do you understand that?
Your farm.
Yala member kere na manuscript ning ni na report ni na statement o jube.
Yes, what happened? It is in the manuscript. That's what they take and give it to these people who are supposed to type the report.
Did you give a copy to the council, general council, the chairman at the time?
Ako foi copy the chairman of the general council Wotemboba. Because it was not even typed. I was unable to lay hands on the written on the written document. This is why I was unable to distribute the papers to the certain people, to the people that I'm supposed to give.
But Mr. Foon, then who do you fault? Who will be at fault when you have done a good job? You have really raised out very important issues.
Akoydo kukendeke. Ye kukende balu wulindi. But what to silam fodung toku ya tete fangale toti ning wo kulu mana ta anyama imake anyama.
Who do you fault?
Ako sila ibeduma le chodila.
Yalong doko kono responsibility bije me as a chairman ale responsibility lankanya nen sonda.
I mean as
the chairman fana be doko la. Ite responsibility ta doko ko wol fana le responsibility ta doko nyun kono. Wol nyanta wala doko kala le kayto futandi tema ite fana nyanta la kayto futandi la mol membe ma ya futandi no wolma. Ni ngete bula safero le safero ke. Wo safero man futandi tema. Yes,
every worker has a responsibility according to the position you are holding. So the responsibility we did was to do the assessment, and that assessment, the document was given to these people to type, because it is their responsibility to type these documents and bring it to me so that I can distribute the documents to the people who are supposed to have copies. But it was the typing which was not even done.
That's true. Everyone has their own responsibility. Everyone should perform their responsibility. But then you were the head, and you are a head for a reason.
I tell them nyaton koti and we tell them nyaton koti dalilo kan.
And your primary job or function or responsibility
akoyla do ko follow tadaming
is to make sure they do they perform their functions.
Wala minti ko nyanta bulale no male yela do ko ke anyanta kala nyami.
Because if they fail, you fail.
Katu ni wala do ko man ke woto ite fanana do ko be boylale. I saw it that way.
And if there is no report because one of the members of the committee didn't type the report, is because you failed in your responsibility in making sure it is typed.
Akoka tuniaje wolumawo report olu safe hanfo ite asoto kadi molu la nyanta di la menula.
You have done a good job.
La menu no ma kay dete hanfo ya do ko kay make ite.
You have done a good job in making sure you perform your functions by conducting an assessment.
Akoyedo ku kendeke kata yirika rola kata dinkiralu to ka kibarulu kensu. Bari ko na tatinya damin puru menu nyanta o kaytol de dale mambule noma.
Do you understand that?
I understand that
capacity is a problem in Janjanbureh area council.
Just like what the chairperson said.
Ni lefa typing fonkela.
The capacity is a problem at Janjanbureh area council. Even if you want to type a document, it's always a problem.
Must you type it? You see, if you can't type it, we understand the capacity, we understand it's difficult, we understand it has to be enhanced, and that we cannot disagree with you.
Ako ate te balanno laybulu kukilna ko nyin safari lalu menu nyanta nyin kaytolu didala ni wo safari lalu ma ke no e mela do ko tamandino anyama nyanta kala nyami ako to de wo dinkira ite so lawto.
Okay. But you write, and if you write with your hand, those records will be there still.
Ako bari isi wuliya safe ibulola ifansi ibulula safero ke men keta nyami ning ayatara wol ma type itela wo bulla safer kaytolu wol batar la jele. Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, as the head of the finance committee,
chairman,
you spoke about bank reconciliations. That you were requesting for bank reconciliations?
This
is captured in the second page of your statement?
Yes.
The first paragraph. That we faced some challenges of management was not cooperating to avail the committee with bank reconciliation for verification. The management would claim that everything is posted in the IFMIS whenever the committee asks for bank reconciliation.
If Miss Massimo Membije Albedo ko men keka menna ye kolu nyil betale ye dundiwo Massimo nyinkono saying report ali FMFN do ku report la karola ibebo if Miss Massimo nyinne kono e kawle fo. Yes.
So how many times have you requested for bank reconciliations?
Ako sinya jello yakanem puru bank la karola na ful tembendi ko kayitandi munimune be kering fo sinya jello yokani.
Seattle.
Yeah, that was many.
Seattle.
Many times.
And a bigger council meeting.
And this all happens during council meetings.
Did you write?
No,
I
never wrote anything about that.
I mean, in as much as I would like to commend you always, in as much as I would like to commend you always whenever it is due.
Yes.
You have to distinguish the two. You as a member of council and as the head of a committee, and you have distinct roles. So when you raise issues of financial concerns as a councilor in council meetings, it's quite different from when you raise issues of financial concerns as the head of the finance committee. Is that not the case? Do you understand?
I understand you.
So in this capacity, I am asking you questions in relation to you being the head of the finance committee. Yes, please respond.
What you said, I agree to it and I understand you. What I want you to know is
as far as these things are concerned.
We cannot sit down and think as far as these things are concerned.
We cannot please come again?
Okay.
What is
bank reconciliation
when it comes to bank reconciliation? As you stated that we should write. That's right, we should have written those things. But there are certain things which prevents us from those writings.
Janjanbureh area council kabring janning IFMIS fang binana.
Janjanbureh area council, even before the advent of this IFMIS machine, that was the problem we always come across.
Ministry kumba.
And the ministry was aware of this problem.
Among service commission kumba.
And the Service Commission was also aware of this problem.
Among National Assembly Select Committee on Local Government.
And the National Assembly Select Committee was also aware of this problem.
La frustration on kanyimbe itandila lembe menkono because ni mobe nyola responsibility babble eteta ako eteta okela ina idung loi man sembodile ina sonka sako ina sikele.
Well, we always voice out our frustration to these various bodies that I name, because we cannot fight with them. We cannot keep on quarreling with them. What we can do is to voice this to the bodies who are responsible also for us. That's why we mention these things to those bodies that I name here. So this is why we realize that those people are more powerful than them. So this is why we explain to those people in those bodies so that they can also pressurize them to follow up what they should
Mr. Foon, that's true.
I'm not talking about other councils.
CEO iman silanda soto because inyanda silanda mella mel nyande tol tilinde man sila wala.
So I went up to the point I realized that the CEOs are not afraid of anybody because those bodies on top of them, they should be afraid of those bodies, but they don't care about it. Because if you report them to those bodies for even 100 years, nothing will come out of it. People who recommend them and bring them to us to work with us, we report them to those people. But they don't care, they don't take our word. Even if you talk to them how many times, they don't care, and nothing comes out of what they do.
So let me just ask you. You said those seniors, when they write, they will not even answer them. So I want you to clarify that. You understand? When you people write, because what we are seeing is that most of the time you just talk, you don't write, and if you don't write, it will be difficult for somebody to prove that what you were saying was actually what transpired at the time. It's only through writing that you will present evidence to say that, you know, I have orally made a demand. It was, for instance, it was not responded to. So I followed it up with a letter to say that this is my demand. When you don't have a response, people will know that you have provided evidence to show that you made this demand. Not only did you make this demand, but there is evidence to show that you've made it. So this is the problem that you people have. So you explain to us the relationship between your seniors and the ministry, so that we appreciate that some of these challenges also are not only limited to you, the councillor, sitting as a council, but there is also an issue at the level of the ministry. So I want you to explain.
Hanali ila ko kibaro di molu la men be santo kubu kaboje hanni ye safe fana buka jabir ke buka femfemfo ako bari ko ku momenti sedo wolem kaytoluti ni atelier ku mamandi me ya lonko aliya ko kibaro di molu la ali nyanta fula menni wulman kuboje saferoke ni saferoke wolle be kala sedo luti kaytandi ko nyim ku karito ñin ne keta bari ntel nga safaro kele a felenti nga safaro ke nga di kar nin kar la nga futandi dinkira karito bitun silang wo dinkira kar ya tuta wolle bulu pour ya ko no masata ye kututeje bari nin silang wo a telefonal manna safaro ke wota be kole yala le pour que sede kayto lu soton men ya lon ko le baytande la ko ñilde ye ñin ko wasile ando man dan wasio dambanna ina ta safaro kele biri safaro ke fanan kayto lu tatala anyanta futala damin wolle man na kututeje so silan ninga ko na ta hanfa futata o tembe dato sai yala be kole yala le purka wo ko sede ande katu sede kayti man soto mune yo sabu mennu nyanta atelin mennu nyanta o safaro lu kala aliman safaro ke wolen koti
safaro ke dale 2018 2019 kana 2020 ka ministry ta fole man council la letterol soto local government service commission ta fole man council la letterol soto select committee will tamu every year they come to us every year ikana yale Any ministry fanankana nyola director of governance kataraji.
Okay, so just a minute. Please provide us with all the correspondences from 2019 to 2020 that have been sent to the ministry, so that we see what are the issues that you complained about and whether there are response to those letters. You mentioned 2019 and 2020.
2019 kana 2020.
Are there any letters
for later on?
And when did you leave, actually, just to add on to that? When did you leave council?
Akoy bota council to majumale 2023.
So what about 2021 and 2022?
Ako 2021, 2022 lako benyadi.
Mina woldole nga follow 2019 la kanani.
I'll come to that. Let's start with 2019.
2019 later on.
2019 we wrote letters.
2020.
Plus 2020.
You understand? So, but later on, I can only refer you to the vice chairman and the chairman. It was during their times. It will move Bay. They were the institutional heads. They were the people writing, and correspondence all
the written documents and correspondence were given to the chairman and the vice chairman. We write and give it to them so that they will follow it up. For 20.
No, I think we are getting a little bit mixed up here. He did not say he writes and gives to them. He is telling me to check with the chairman and the vice chairman.
Yes.
So what I'm asking is that he said there is writing. There were letters written or complaints. It could be anything. It could be letters. It could be complaints. I am asking him to avail us those complaints. Was it him and his committee members that wrote, or who were the people that wrote these complaints?
Allah complain, Allah wasi dalu aniwo later on. Ako jumanyo le safi atelle ye safi bang fodum dolle olu safi ikamem foko alkedi molla men yalon ko al nyanta dilela.
Complaino dolbe jewol botan na committee findings ñol le kon.
Some complaint
labanda silal as general council.
There are certain complaints which came from us, and we pass it to the General Council. But later on, we had to sit down and call for a meeting. During that meeting, it was agreed during that meeting that chairman or vice chairman, they should be writing documents and supporting documents so that they will be forwarded to the right places that they should go to.
Later kasafele na findings ñol fana les BSF complain about CEO Lombang or finance director Lombang.
So please take note, give him to take note and provide us with those ones.
Akobito la solo bekela wo kayto le la karola si safe ibe sula la kayto lu menula pour sa may kana nyina.
And please write and request for all those documents that you could recall from 2019 to January 2023.
Kabo 2019 kana January 2023 yo safero lu menu be keta isi fereke wulu fana laybe sotono lu nyameng purisi lu fana lu be kafu nyoma yena tibe sulala wakaito lal. He said okay.
Councilor, you may proceed.
Yes, so as the head of the finance committee, what were the major challenges you were faced with?
Council as finance committee.
What I can say here as finance committee,
challenges ñol membi je wolom ñindi kon mang space to pour kana do ko keno feneti je be menke kam.
The challenges we faced was there was no space for us to do our job.
Management bank reconciliation
Management was not showing the bank reconciliations to us.
And
when I became councillor, I made a recommendation.
Then a council studied we have capacity problem.
I studied the council and realized that we have a capacity problem.
Reliance a partnership
We had a partnership with Reliance.
In that partnership, What mo be UNCDF project called
Reliance,
launch
Reliance what?
Reliance Financial Service.
Your Reliance Financial Services.
You had a partnership with them?
Yes, menketa.
Do you mean the council or the committee or what?
No. Council ni partnership ke for committee.
No, council ni partnership so don't tell no partnership ni interagir.
We found that partnership there. It was the council which had a partnership with them,
right?
And we found that there.
So you will continue. I just have to make sure I ask some questions.
Regarding
what was the nature of the partnership?
Ako denyo maya o partnership. Nyadi le mum partnership façon nemu.
Okay, woto mbota men kalama wala mnyindiko UNCDF project ko nyina nala launching dulat.
What I can remember about that was UNCDF at the beginning of the launching of the project.
Nga Reliance je wolto with Q money.
I saw Reliance there with Q money at that launching.
So in that project ngamira partner ta any more partner ta wolto.
I think it was during that launching and during the project that was the time when they formed this partnership.
So do you know what kind of partnership?
Partnership
member to Orlando or launching in the Carola kai wala project ko nyindi pour dokulal cash for working aning project ko nyi word sol fanala phone sol.
The launch, what I understand about the launch, that launching was that for workers, cash for work, and also projects that they are going to carry out for the people.
Funds nyol be nyana Reliance.
And all the funds should go to Reliance.
Okay.
So percentage bije men Q money fana nyanta men fana nyanta la Q money fana nyanta men jola.
And there is a percentage anyanta tala Q money for Q money le nyanta.
What so la funds all be kata Reliance.
All funds from the wards go to Q Reliance.
Cash for workers fana na jol.
Cash for workers also.
There is a percentage abeka do Reliance, but percentage bijele men kata Q money.
All go to Reliance, but there is a percentage which goes to Q money.
Is Q money? Is it a company? Q money?
Q cell.
Q cell. Okay. Please proceed.
Help me where I stopped.
You were explaining with respect to the partnership that they have, that you found on the ground.
Very good.
Partnership mentaraji.
Very good. Bring us study nga council jube ko council le capacity problem soton.
After looking at things, I studied the situation and I realized that council has a capacity problem.
Ngaje ko amanke finance committee dem man fanande but the whole council be akatale bake fam pour ka na finance department men nyinga be regulate la nyame amanke no.
It was not only the finance committee, but the whole council. We all tried to regulate the financial operations of the finance committee, but there was nothing possible.
So not a menke Reliance was it to lay.
What I did was at that meeting I appealed to Reliance. I don't hide things. I told them I understand that this company is belongs to the citizens of this country. And I believe that there are people among you who are from this region.
Beyond that.
I want our partnership to go beyond what is happening here.
Finance department because problem.
I told them what I want is for you people to come and help us at the finance department because that's where we have this problem. If that place is good, council will work properly.
So
they didn't refuse. They said that
finance department
that will be a good name for them and it will be exciting for them to be able to be involved in the making of the council or helping council to be able to regulate their financial situation. That will be very good for them. They were happy about that. But they told us on condition.
Mr. Foon, do you that partnership, do you have any agreement Was there any agreement signed between the council and Reliance and Q Money?
Allah de nyomaya fo kamben kayti soton tale men data signed Reliance and council ning Q Money tema.
Please note and provide us with the agreement.
I believe those documents are there.
I see it's 1 o'clock. Do we proceed?
It's 1 o'clock?
Yes, 12 to 7. May we advise whether we proceed or we can stop? The secretary has indicated that we should stop here.
Yes, we are sending back the signal too.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
So we'll come back after the break.
What?